What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the vlog. My name is Garrett Adelstein, coming at you from day 3 of the main event. Super excited to be here. I've got 217k chips. Yes, whoever you are. Yeah, let's just straight into the action. I'm very excited, but no expectations. Let the chips fall where they may. Relatively decent table. I'm excited. Let's do it. Good luck, guys. Very quick shout out to that legend in the introduction. Don't know who he was, but I hope he survives day 3. This is the first day where we have all the players from all the day 1s and day 2s together in the same room. Thousands of players, all of us chasing that record-breaking $12 million. I've got a pretty good table draw, and with 85 bigs in my stack, the aim is to play a loose, aggressive style pre-flop and try to take lots of pots away from my opponents after the flop. Basically, I'm going to redline them as best as possible. On to our first hand of the day, and Shota Naganishi has a big stack. He's been playing very aggressively so far, as I expected. He makes it 6k to go in early position. I am on the button and look down at ace king of hearts, such a pretty hand. I make it 17.5k to go. The big blind is an older fella. He clearly likes the look of his cards because he elects to cold 4-bet jam for 85k. Crazy first hand of the day developing already. Shota gets out the way. I of course make the call. The older guy has got black queens. It is the absolute classic Texas Hold'em flip, hoping to get lucky here and score an early knockout.
Wait. Seven.
An absolutely glorious flop, leaving my opponent with just one out. He, of course, couldn't find it, and I send him to the rail, bumping my stack up to around 300k very early on. I really couldn't have asked for a better start here. Next up, I'm in the big blind with king 10 offsuit. An Italian professional has opened in MP to 5k. I make the call. We go heads up to a flop with 10, 6 deuce, all diamonds. He bets 2,500, the absolute minimum. My girlfriend is actually Italian, and I've been learning the language, so I smile at him and say piccolino. That means very, very small. He does not smile back. All right, buddy. I call to the turn a very nice offsuit king. How do you say 2-pair in Italian, pal? I check and he bets again, this time for 5k. I don't think our hand wants to raise. I decide to just call. The river is an offsuit 7. Very, very little improved. So if we were ahead before, we're still ahead now. I check and he bets again for 11k. Now, I absolutely snapped this bet off, but I really wish I'd thought about it for just a moment. I don't think any player is going to bet 3 streets very, very small with a flush here, and he's only got about 40k behind after he bets the river. I really should be going for the thin value jam here, but I do just call, and he turns over ace king with the king of diamonds. Not sure if he would have called, but really annoyed at myself for that snap. Really got to just slow it down and think about things. I got to just shake it off though and get on with things. The pots are coming thick and fast, and next up, 2018 main event winner John Sin opens in the cutoff to 6k. I'm in the small blind with ace queen of spades. Easy 3-ball here. I make it 22k to go. After a very brief cringe moment that you'll hear about on the break, he shoves all in for 80k. It's around 32 bigs, and I don't love it, but it is a mandatory call. He shows me ace king of clubs. Talk about domination nation. Gonna need a little help from the dealer here.
How's that?
Runner, spades, are you killing me? All right, let's just back this up slightly. Look at the way the dealer kind of holds the river before putting it down. I absolutely love this. I kind of feel like I'm at a blackjack table and she's about to bust. Mr. Sin is a gent about it. He wishes us all luck and heads for the exit. 2 very fortunate big pots coming my way so far today. Couldn't have asked for a better start to this level. Maybe this is an omen that I'm going to win the main event. All right, end of the first level of the day. It's day 3 now. I do this every year. I book a room months in advance for day 3 of the main event. I've got the master suite in the Horseshoe Casino in Las Vegas. And also, this is really cool. You get to come up and chill on your breaks and charge your phone and yeah, all that great stuff. A fantastic start at the poker. I don't know exactly how much I've got. I think it's about 385. Per John Sin, knocked him out. Fun story about that hand actually. So I 3-bet the small blind, and then he was looking at me, and I was really focusing on not giving away any tells, and he picked up a stack. And it wasn't like an angle or anything like that, but he picked up a stack, and I immediately looked down at the stack and then looked up at him and then made eye contact and looked back down again. It was a very cringe half a second. And then he shoved and I called and I caught runner flush. Really awesome start to the day. The table is not it's not terrible, but it's not amazing either. But yeah, let's just keep it going and see how deep we can go in this thing. All right, coming back here from break with 393,000 chips in my stack. That's 131 big blinds here on day 3 of the main event. A really good start. I'm in complete dreamland. Not too many pots to talk about here in this level. The first of which occurs when Under the Gun opens for 6k, the hijack calls, and I look down at ace jack of clubs in the small blind. I decide to put in the squeeze. I make it 35k to go. This is going to get the job done. Both players fold and I take it down. Every pot counts at this point, so really happy not to get 4-bet off of my equity here. Exactly one orbit later, the same player opens to 6k, the cutoff calls, the button calls, and I look down in the small blind again at a very nice hand. This time it's ace king offsuit. I make it 40k to go, and Under the Gun goes deep into the tank. It really looks as if he's contemplating a fold or a call or a raise or a jam, all 4 options on the table for him. After about 90 seconds though, he settles on fold. The other 2 players fold much more quickly, and once again I'm dragging in a nice pot uncontested, but I wasn't sure what I was going to do if Under the Gun jammed his stack in for 250k total. I guess sigh and call it off, but we'll never have to deal with that. Next up, a very solid player opens in the cutoff to 6k. I played with him all day. Super nice guy wearing a very stylish tiger jumper. I'm in the big blind to defend with king jack offsuit. To the flop we go. It is 9 deuce deuce rainbow. Swing and a miss for me, but when he bets really small. It's only 3,500 chips. I think I have to peel here with all my overs on this texture for this size, so I make the call. Very happy to see a king roll off on the turn. One of the beauties of calling this hand on the flop is that when I turn a pair and he's bluffing, he's going to bluff at my turn pairs. He bets again for 17.5k. I tank for about 60 seconds, repping the 9, trying to induce the river bet. Eventually I call, praying for no extra hearts on the river. It's an offsuit 6. Really nice run out here, and even though he bombs the river for 53k, I tank for approximately 0 seconds before calling, never calling the turn and then folding the river no matter how big he bets. When he turns his hand over, I see that he's got ace x of hearts and go to turn mine over, only to see that the X is a deuce. No, he's got 3 of a kind. Such an annoying one. I should be good here so often, but alas, he is dragging in this pot, not me. Nothing else of note happens in this level, and I head off not long after this for the second break of the day. All right, end of the second level. Took a bit of a hit there when the guy had ace deuce suited, but honestly I feel fine. You know, it didn't bother me at all. The main event, if you're to win the main event, you're gonna go like this, so I genuinely feel completely fine. Yeah, let's just keep it going. 24 hours of main event poker without aces or kings once. I keep getting ace rag and king rag, and I'm like, oh, is this the time? But it hasn't happened yet. Maybe with this level, I fucking bet I get aces and they get cracked. It's just the way it goes. But yeah, let's keep it going and see what we can do in the next level. Very swingy day so far. Absolutely loving it though. It is the main event after all. 307k chips in my stack now. Still a profitable day so far, so going to keep positive here and continue to play as well as I can. Next up is a very fun hand. The same guy from the last hand opens an MP to 8,500. I'm in the cutoff with queen 10 of diamonds. I make the call. 3-betting here quite a lot, but I think calling sometimes is fine. Big blind comes along as well. 3 ways to the flop. It is queen, queen, deuce. A very good start to this hand flopping. 3 of a kind. Really happy to see NPC bet here for 5,500. I put on my best. I have pocket 8's face and call, and then the big blind busts out the check raise to 20,000. I'm not too worried about this from the big blind. He's got lots of hands like queen 3 suited that we dominate, and obviously some bluffs, but starting to get a little worried when MP calls this raise. I can't do anything other than just call myself. To the turn, looking for a 10, but it's a full rainbow 4 instead. Big blind decides to slow down and check, as does MP, and I'll be honest, I'm just completely lost in this spot. Maybe a micro bet of like 20% is the best play here. I decided to just pot control and check back. Can we find a 10 on the river? Nope, it's an offsuit 6. The big blind comes out swinging here. He bets 51k. MP takes a while and eventually calls. I'm just sitting here thinking, am I ever good here? Or maybe there are just 5 queens in the deck. I've made this call millions of times in my life and never ever won. So after 60 seconds of milking the moment for a bit of attention, I eventually fold. Big blind has got queen jack offsuit. I lose to him, and MP's got pocket deuces. I lose to him as well. I was in precisely last place. Disaster completely averted there. I do think it's a pretty standard river fold though. I can't really beat both players. I'd like to be winning some pots here, guys and girls. Hopefully that's going to start to happen for me when I look down at ace queen offsuit in the small blind. My buddy Shota has limped. I think that might have been a misclick, as when I look up he is laughing about something. Then again, he's always laughing. Such a nice guy. The cutoff over limps and I put in the raise. I make it 17k to go. Neither player is put off by that raise. They both make the call, and we say a flop 3 ways of 5-3 deuce with 2 clubs. Not what we wanted to see at all. Shota takes a stab here for 15k when we check to him. Very surprised to see the cutoff fold here. I imagine his over-limping range is going to smash this board in terms of flop sets. I think I have to call one here. I've got a gut shot, 2 overs, and I can start to get funky on a king turn. The turn is not any of those cards mentioned. It's the 7 of clubs. I sigh, I check, and when a very chunky turn bet comes in, I go ahead and fold. Starting to bleed a little here, but I don't think I'm doing much wrong. Dinner comes round about the right time for me. I head off for a Subway and some Netflix in the room to chill out. All right, coming back from dinner, as always, very, very late after dinner. There are 2,007 players left, 1,507 make the money, so 500 to go. I think it'll be tonight. I've got work to do, though. I've got 233k. It's about 55 bigs. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I'm absolutely chilled. No, it's not 55, it's 45 bigs. Yeah, I feel good. Let's keep it going, see what we can do, see if we can make it into the money and then go on and win the main event. Yeah, let's keep it going. All right, coming back to 234k after dinner. My stack looks tiny after the color up, despite peaking at around 400k for the day. I'm still actually winning, and I still have many big blinds to work with here, so definitely not going to get frustrated. Just going to keep it going and play as best as I can. I pick up a couple of small pots again, squeezing ace-king successfully and getting no action. Next up, though, it finally happens. After 26 hours and 51 minutes of main event poker, I finally get dealt pocket aces. It has been an eternity. And as expected, I raise from early position and everybody folds. One anticlimactic moment that was. Back to the serious stuff now, and I look down at ace-queen offsuit for the millionth time this tournament. I bring it in for the min from early position. The ever-aggressive Shota is going to pop it here. He makes it 28k from the hijack. I decided to turn my hand into a 4-bet bluff. It's got good blockers, it's unsuited, and it plays okay if my opponent flats the 4-bet, so I make it 88k to go. In hindsight, this is a bit too big for my stack size, and it's absolutely brutal to see that this mistake is punished when he shoves it all in on me and forces me to fold. Really wish I'd 4-bet a little smaller and save myself a couple of big blinds. I still like the 4-bet bluff, even though it didn't work out. That puts me back down to under 200k, starting to get a little nervous with around 300 players to go until the money. Next up, the button is open to 12k. I'm in the big blind with Jack 8 offsuit. Really easy defend here. Important flop coming up, and it's a very, very good one. It's Jack 8-7 rainbow. I check and the button bets 15k, a little bigger than I would go here, but I decided to raise 75% of the time and just call the other 25%. Gonna let him blast off with a hand like king 9, something like that. To the turn, it's another jack. I've only gone and turned the nuts. I check, willing him to bet in my head, but he decides to check back. The river's a 5. Nothing really changes here. I've still got the super nuts. Right, sizing. There's 62k in the pot, and he's got about 100k behind at this point. My initial instinct was to jam, but I decided against that because I really do think people will overfold for their tournament life 300 away from a 15k bubble, so I settled on this max value-y exploity overbet of 73k. After I bet, I am willing him not to snap fold, and very, very early in his tank, it's clear he's got a decision to make. A long, painful tank proceeds for the button. All the while, I try and make myself look as nervous as possible. After 2 whole minutes, he makes the call. Huge pot coming my way. Really, really relieved to win that one and propel myself away from the 40 big blind area, heading into the final break of the night. All right, coming back to the last level of the night. I've got to do this real quick because we're in play and I forgot to do this. I got like 286k, 6k big blind, 200 away from money. Let's get it done. All right. All right, coming back into the last level, slowing down a little, doing the whole take 10 seconds before folding thing. Just want to be sure I am focused and playing my best. No hands of note for the first 30 minutes of the level, but we do lose a lot of players. It's going faster than expected. We're just 100 away now. It's going super quickly. I can almost taste that min cashy goodness. Another 30 minutes seem to fly by. We're now 1 hour away from the end of the day and only 50 players away from cashing the main event. I'm not shying away from playing hands though. I open king 10 of hearts in the hijack. Shota defends the big blind. He's got me way covered, and after we see a flop of 9, 6, 6, 2 clubs, 1 heart, I think he just raises every c-bet that I put out here, so I decide to check back, try and realize my equity. The turn is an offsuit queen. Nice gut shot for me now. Same logic as the flop though. I don't want to bet here and get raised, so I decide to check back again. Can we improve on the river? No, we cannot. It's a 4. He leads out for 18k, and I take a bit of time here before folding. I'm of course never really considering calling with king high, but happy to eat up a few more sets seconds and get a little closer to the bubble. 15 more minutes go by, 17 players away now. It's so close. Under the gun is open to 15k. He's got me covered, and it's a bigger than min raise open. I'm in the cutoff with ace-4 of spades, and you know what, guys, given everything I've just said, I'm going to look so strong if I 3-bet here. I make it 42k to go. Every single player after me to act, apart from Shota, takes like 40 seconds before they fold. I know they're tanking for the money, but it doesn't make it any less terrifying. One of them might just go ahead and ship it in on me. It gets back to under the gun, who looks very frustrated but folds quite quickly. He then asks me if I can show him a 5. I tell him, sorry, I can't show you a 5, and obviously show him the 4. I just can't help myself. Getting closer and closer. 10 minutes left on the clock now. We're 12 players away. The floor man picks up the microphone and announces that we're bagging up for the night. What? I cannot believe that. We're 12 players away from cashing the main event. Surely we'll just play down to the money. He did say that he didn't want to add a 2-hour bubble period to the end of what has already been a very long day, which I kind of understand in hindsight, I guess. Maybe for the best to just bag up and go home. 249,000 chips in the bag. Pretty cool. I got to stay in just one seat all day again today. No moving around, jumping tables. I had a lot of fun with the guys that I played with. Very happy to be bagging up quite a lot of big blinds going into day 4, hoping to make the money. No time for an outro in this one. I had to go straight to bed, fresh and ready for day 4. See you next time.